Now a woman who needs very little introduction, Elizabeth May.
Aishka. Yeah, and Aishka Adam for speaking first, and to the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I am so grateful, Aishka. And we're also recognizing on the lands of shared with Musqueam territory. It is an enormous honor to be here. I'm glad that Adam had to go ahead of me here tonight. May have been a lot of pressure. Where did you go, Adam? Where are you? Oh, you're there. Because the thing is, we have a lot in common, because I am Adam Olson's Member of Parliament, and he's about to become my MLA. And I'm very excited about that. It's looking very good at home in our territory. And I also wanted to say about Adrian and I have been friends for a really, really long time. I first worked with her husband, Paul George. It used to be that I would talk about Paul's wife, Adrian, and now it's Adrian's husband, Paul. But it's good. They've shared out the limelight roles over the years really, really well. But we worked together on the fight to stop the logging on Lyle Island and to protect what's now Guayahanas National Park Reserve. So we've known each other all a really, really long time. And the first time I ever ran for parliament, the first time I ran for parliament was actually in 1980, before we had the Green Party. And I ran in Cape Breton Island against the Deputy Prime Minister at the time, Alan J. McCacken, in an attempt to put environmental issues into the campaign through something we started called the Small Party. And the Small Party morphed into the Green Party, but it took the 3 years between 1980 and 1983 for all of that work to happen. And then when Adrian talks about how when she started out with when the Green Party of British Columbia started out, that the idea of being a leader was still not really liked, so it was the spokesperson. I know a lot of you here tonight, I've been talking to some of you earlier, are relatively new to the Green Party. So you need to know what my job description is as leader. My job description is to be the spokesperson. Right? Yeah. It's not changed. I am not in charge of absolutely anything except trying to keep myself together. That's it. I can't, somebody on staff, decisions about this, decisions about that. We are run as a party. Our highest order of governance is at the federal level is the biannual general meeting assembled. That's the governing structure. And between those meetings is the federal elected council. And I'm one vote on a federally elected council that I think we have about 20 members. And we really believe in grassroots democracy. We really live it. And so what difference has it made, which is what they wanted me to talk about, and I'm trying to get through it very quickly because I know Rebecca's worried about time. What difference has it made that there's one Green in Parliament? And it's made a really big difference. It's been quite an interesting experience for me in terms of the job I do and the way Adam just described it. I didn't know why Maclean's magazine wanted to do a profile of me, and I was doing this interview with this really nice journalist named Aaron Weary. I found out later it was because Maclean's does this vote every year, and every MP gets a ballot, and it's a secret ballot. And I was thinking that maybe this year I could get elected as the hardest working MP. I figured that might be, like a lock. But it turned out that was, you might have heard earlier, I was elected Parliamentarian of the Year by all the MPs. And that's pretty cool because it meant that enough of the plurality of conservatives, liberals, and New Democrats chose to vote for me instead of people in their own party. Otherwise, I couldn't have had that happen. But what I wanted to mention about it was that Aaron Weary's first question to me was, what made you decide that you were going to spend all your time in Parliament, read every bill, and be at every vote, and in every debate? And I said, I thought that was the job. I didn't know. What is she doing? She's in Parliament all the time. But it was so odd when because first of all, before I got elected, the media buzz was she didn't have a hope in hell. I did an interview with CKNW Radio literally the week before the election. And the question to me was, the interviewer started, with all due respect, right? With all due respect, you couldn't get elected dog catcher. And I thought, well, due respect thing didn't last long, did it? But in any case, and then I thought, quite right, I probably couldn't get elected dog catcher because I'd be a very poor dog catcher. I would want to find homes for the dogs. I would be upset about the whole thing. Fortunately, I'm running for a member of parliament, and I'm absolutely sure I'm about to get elected as a member of parliament. I'm not worried about the dog catcher thing. But the media went straight from, you can't get elected, to, well, we'll never hear from her again. Now, on issue after issue after issue, I don't know if I hadn't been there if the things would have been raised. I'm pretty sure that nobody else in Parliament would have noticed the tabling of the Canada-China Investment Treaty. It was done so silently, so quietly. It's still not ratified, although they could do it any day, but we've managed to make it enough of an issue that so far it's not ratified. I never thought I'd be the only member of Parliament. When you think about the makeup of the House, with all the New Democrats that are there as official opposition, with the Liberals, with still some Bloc Québécois members, I was used to the idea with the horror of a Conservative majority under Stephen Harper that there'd be a lot of bad things happening because they had the votes. But it didn't really occur to me how often I'd be the only one to say no to things. The only one to insist that we should actually have hearings before passing a bill that changed the criminal code around mega trials. The only MP, this was the weirdest experience, the only MP to vote against bombing Libya. I couldn't figure out what happened. I know that you want to hear from Jane. I just want to say that right now, as we stand here on the 30th anniversary, the 30th birthday of the formation of the Green Party of British Columbia, and I look out in this room and I see so many great candidates. Obviously, Jane, Carrie, Adam, we see pictures up here, Andrew Weaver. We've got, and I don't want to just pick some people out because there's so many great candidates in this room. We're on the brink at the 30th birthday of the Green Party of British Columbia, for sure, of the breakthrough in Victoria that we've already had in Ottawa, and we will have Green MLAs, plural. We are not talking about one MLA and what one MLA can do in Victoria. We're talking about a caucus of Green MLAs in Victoria. So the next time we go to the polls federally, we'll have a caucus of Green MPs in Ottawa, and that will bring us the kind of governance we want. Someone once told me they felt as if throwing greens into the mix was like when you're cooking and you throw in saffron. It doesn't take much to turn everything yellow. Well, it won't take much. A few greens in there will turn everything green. We'll get the climate action we want. We'll get the protection of our fisheries that we want. We'll be able to fight those fish farms that are contaminating our waterways and stop those pipelines and stop those tankers and ensure that our children have the chance to see and experience the British Columbia that we love. We have one chance to get it right, and time is running out on getting it right. And that's why British Columbia needs Greens in the legislature. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So now I'd love to welcome Jane Sterk, our leader, to the stage. Thank you.
Well, Elizabeth just did something I was going to do because a couple of speakers got up here and talked about MLA. Well, Bernard tells me I have 1,000 to 1 chance of being Premier. And we're not going to do it with one MLA. He tells me I have the second best chance to be Premier. After Adrian. And not that Adrian, but the other Adrian. So we are going to elect MLAs, so I want to be clear about that plurality there. This computer's in my way. Anyway, good evening. And I feel a bit like a proud mama who's watched her kid come of age. I was struck by Proud Mama. I kept thinking that in my head, and so I called my husband and I said, "Is that the name of a song? Proud Mama?" He said, "No, it's Proud Mary." By Creedence Clearwater Revival. So I might actually have the memory suitable for a premier. You know, when they're questioned about what happened in a meeting, they often say, "I can't remember." So I think I have that qualification. In any event, Proud Mama of the Green Party would remember the struggle to form its identity in the early years and the rebelliousness of the teenage years when a parent has a doubt as to whether or not the choices would be good or bad. In fact, some days we might have wondered if we could possibly turn out well. Then came the experiments with the 20s, trying to find ourselves, testing our limits, getting in a bit of trouble. Sometimes we look like we're on the verge of success only to have our hopes dashed. And now, at 30, we've settled down, put down roots deep into the earth. And that will provide us with a long and healthy future. Tonight's an interesting night. Here exists both the past and the future of this party in one moment in time. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary on the cusp of our first electoral breakthrough. All the work that we've done has prepared us for this moment. We're indebted to the members from the 80s who worked so hard to create the party, and I thank Adrian and Paul for that. And I should have honored the Stay With You for their amazing welcome. Thank you. We're obliged to those who joined in the 90s and laid the foundation for a truly provincial party. We're gratified by members and supporters who really started coming forward in the 2000s to strengthen our party. As an organization, we've faced good times and bad times, and now here we are in the present, and where we, all of us, have made a commitment to being a professional political party that is both prepared to win and able and determined to do so. The foundation for our longevity is a commitment to a better future. Elizabeth and Adrian have both talked about that, as has Adam and Berinder. That's the heart of the Green Party. And this commitment is etched into the soul of the party. And today, being green means knowing that Greens elected is critical to a better BC and a better future. The May 2013 election is different. I know you've heard before that we're going to elect BC Greens and that we're going to win, but this time it is different, and electoral success is in our grasp. There's something special happening on South Vancouver Island. It started when thousands of people came from across the region and volunteered on Elizabeth's campaign and helped get Elizabeth elected. Individuals like Carrie Davis, who would come down frequently, and Valerie, his wife, who would come down from Cowichan to canvass for Elizabeth. And then we had the by-election in Victoria with Donald Galloway. And it felt like we were going to elect that second Green MP. And we came within a heartbeat of doing so. The excitement in the room that night, am I doing something? The excitement in the room that night was absolutely palpable. And we knew, each of us, that we were participating in something that was great. And it's now our time to harness that opportunity at the provincial level. The provincial campaign is dependent on everyone in this room and everyone you can persuade to be involved. We don't want to realize on election day that we had people who said they would vote Green and who didn't make it to the polls. We have great candidates who are standing for their communities in the Green Party, and I'd like all of our candidates to stand up and for all of you to give them a round of applause. And a candidate can only be great if others step forward to be with that person. And that's your job, those of you that didn't stand up. On election day, we vote for the candidate, but it's the work of the team that will make the success of that candidate be realized. So I invite you to come and help your local candidate, or join a regional campaign, or come to Victoria, South Vancouver Island, and help on one of our key campaigns. For me, the Green Party is a means to an end. My motivation, on one hand, is very selfish, and on the other is driven by a great sense of urgency. Selfishly, I want a hopeful and prosperous future for my children, my grandchildren, Sam and Timothy. And you've been seeing Sam occasionally on the screen. And all of the world's children and grandchildren. In fact, I see my motivation as not only Sam and Timothy's future, but the future of their grandchildren. I want their grandchildren to live and thrive in a beautiful BC. We all know that the news is not good, and the potential for prosperity for future generations doesn't look good. But not long ago, I decided that the only way we could deal with the urgency of action was by changing the way public policy is made and the way government is done. I'm not partisan, but I chose to be part of a political party because it's a means to change. I'm independent, but I choose to be part of a team that are united by a series of principles that make the terms left and right meaningless. I'm green because for me, it's a means to a better future. My name is Jane Sterk, and I'm going to be the first Green MLA for Victoria Beacon Hill. And I want at least 3 others with me in that chamber. And we need your help. We need your support, and now is the time, and I'm asking you to get involved. It's time to start winning, and we need you, your time, your passion, your commitment, and your money. The future starts here tonight. Please join the Green Wave.